I'm here with a special guest today that we are going to really dive into in just a bit. My guest is Katherine O'Shea. Katherine, I'm so glad to have you with me today. I'm going to play our theme song for Gratitude Happy Hour and give us a chance to share this out and get people in here finding us. The song is called Even If the Sky is Falling Down. Listen to the words to this. It really has a message to it.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down. Jumping from cliffs so high, trusting our wings to fly. Sometimes we're crashing down, but we get up and start from the ground. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs. You can say I lost my mind, I will keep on holding my head high. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down. Even if the sky is falling down, even if the sky is falling down, yeah. The sky is falling down.
I love that song. I have really come to know every word of it because it's just my story. It's me. It's how I live my life now that I understand more about how I put intentions out there. And the intention that I put out every day is whatever's going on in the world, I choose to let it affect me in whatever way I want. If I want to be brought down by a vibration, then I will be. If I want to stay in my own high energy, I will. So that's my friend Karen says, life is either a prison or a playground. It's whatever we make of it. And I truly agree. And that song just like puts that out there. So I want to welcome my guest today, Katherine O'Shea. Katherine, I am so happy that you are here with us today. I have been waiting to talk to you, and I know there was, you were supposed to be on another week, and I was traveling, and I was unable to find a good connection where we could be together to talk. But I'm so glad that you're here now, and welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. We're right where we're supposed to be.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
You can tell by the smile on my face. I'm extremely happy to be here. And I just want to say, I love that song. I want to listen to it more. You know, it reminded me of, I used to live in Hawaii for a while, and it has that vibe of just like rainbows and salty air and just, you know, being in that place of love and gratitude and connecting to those higher frequency and vibrations and attracting that and creating that in our lives and in the lives of the people around us.
Yeah, the energy of aloha. I've been to Hawaii and I feel that energy prevalent there all over that whole island, that whole string of islands that is Hawaii. And the people there just exude that love that you're talking about, that high vibration. And when they say aloha, whether it's to welcome you or to say goodbye to you, it's that same feeling that you get of just being in an energy of love.
Yeah.
And you give that out with your energy.
Oh, thank you. Hawaii really trained me well,
Mm-hmm.
I think that was,
Yes.
one time I was like, really connecting about, because I was guided to stay there for quite a while. I was there for like 8 years. And
Yeah.
aloha it's not even just a word, in many indigenous cultures, one word means, right? Like it means something that you can't actually explain, but that you can feel
Right.
and be and receive and offer. And it's that that breath, that soul, that beautiful thing. And I really feel like I was sent to learn more about that within me. It really is like the source of whatever is aloha, the source of love and light. And to when I was guided to move from aloha back to my home state of Colorado, I was guided that I needed to go spread the aloha. So I'm I'm
Yes.
happy to do that. I feel very
Yes.
grateful.
Absolutely. And you do it so well. And I think from what I'm hearing from the angels and understanding, it's that spirit of aloha that attracts the animals to you and helps that communication process to open up. Animals can read our energy so fast. They know as soon as they meet somebody if that's somebody that's loving and kind and open to them, or somebody that's closed off and fearful and not in that state of being of unconditional love. So I want to share with our audience that you are an animal communicator, and let's talk about that a little bit. I've listened to some of your interviews that have been done, and you've had this gift since you were a little girl of really understanding the animals, haven't you?
I have, and I didn't really recognize it in the same way as I do now, because I was just in my existence as a child. So I think even if, even to my family, this was a bit of a surprise.
Yes.
What? But yes, I used to have a really deep understanding of what they were communicating and how they were communicating. And I could actually see also the spirit animal guides and have communication with them. And I had certain ones that were with me in my childhood in different stages, and some of them that stayed with me for a really long time. And I loved animals and I felt this connection. It was such a deep, they do experience that frequency and vibration of you so effortlessly. It's just so part of how they are and how they're connected to everyone and everything. And so I think as a child I was really open to that. And when I moved to Hawaii, I actually had a reading from an Ayurvedic astrologist, and she said, your insides, your heart is like Hawaii. It's and it started to make
Yeah.
sense the more that I was there, because I love that you shared that, because it really cracked me open and purified everything all the junk I had filled my trunk with, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
It really allowed that, that frequency of aloha just came in and there was just no stopping it. And that is when, as an adult, this ability really stepped forward for me to explore in a higher, just a different purpose and a higher, I think definitely it's um, the accuracy and the way, the understanding and the way that I can share it. But when I was a child, yeah, I just loved it. And I loved animals, but not in like the freak out, every time I saw an animal. It was just this deep, like, I see you, I also see you. And oh, I think your dog's thirsty, or but I didn't understand that was something, anything. It was just how I was in my body, it's just how I was in my experience. And I also had a very vivid, wild imagination. Like I often went off into my own world because I think this world was kind of uncomfortable for me. And I know a lot of people can probably relate to that, especially if they have that connection to the other realms. And so I would often be in my own world anyway. So
Yes, I can relate to that. That's how I was growing up. It was me and my angels, and the angels have taught me so much, and they have brought me to the animals to communicate with them and to love them unconditionally, just as they love everyone. And that's all they want, is just to provide love for us and comfort and companionship and protection. That's all they want. They're just doing their job.
they're just
When they show up.
in unconditional love and service
Yeah.
in the moment all the time. And I love your connection with angels and how you share that, and how it's just you, and so many people I think can feel comfortable being that way because of what you share so openly. I remember as a child, I loved to go to church because I don't even know if I really knew what they were talking about, but I could see the angels.
Yeah.
And I could feel the angel frequency, and I could just sit in there and sing. And it was fine with me.
Yeah. When we're children, we're unfiltered. When we come into the world, we still know that we can see. Nobody's told us that we can't, or that we're not seeing what we're seeing. And so in that unfiltered state, we just are, we just exist, and everything is wide open to us. It's when we start getting told, oh, don't say that. That's not a good thing to say, that you talk to angels. And I'm like, but why? They're there. I talk to them. They talk back to me. And so I continued doing it. I never listened to the world telling me that it was not a normal thing to do. It's like, I just went with my heart and my gut. And, it opens up a whole new level for you when you do that, and when you can stay in that power of communication. So
it's really beautiful.
Yeah, let's talk animal stories. What's your favorite animal story of communicating with an animal?
Oh, right. There's so many.
We've got time.
Okay, perfect. Well, let's see, my favorite. I love when the animals come forward to share after they've already crossed over and maybe they aren't on Earth anymore. Yeah. I think those are some of my favorite moments. And when they share their love completely unbridled in this just total fluid way, and I can feel it coursing through me, and the person who's receiving it I can see it healing those pieces. And really that's how I think we heal from that loss. And I know you do a lot of work with that, and I'm so grateful, is really just reconnecting to their love and knowing that hasn't gone anywhere. And one time, I have a favorite one. Okay. I have many. I have a hard time saying favorite. I'll just say that. Like, pick your favorite color. I'm like, rainbow is my favorite color.
Oh yeah,
because it includes all of them.
Right.
But I was, I also am a hairstylist, and I do that in a soul guided way, and I don't do that as much. But I was working with one of my clients, and one of her dogs was getting ready to transition. And she was there with him, and she felt very supported. So we connected, and she wanted to know, if there's anything he needed or wanted or what he wanted to share. And he shared a lot of really beautiful things. And then at the last minute, he showed me looking up through this glass table, and there was like a tall glass sitting there. And he said, I want to try lemonade.
Oh, wow.
And I said to her, and I almost didn't say it right, because when you're learning to trust your gift, you really, and share it, it's kind of vulnerable, and you really have to get over yourself and share the
Yes.
message.
Yes.
That's really your only job. I don't even have to take responsibility for the message. I just have to share it. So I
Yes.
said, I started giggling, and I just said, he said he wants lemonade. And she nearly burst into tears, and she just said, I drink lemonade every day. And, I didn't know that, of course. And so she did give him some lemonade, and I don't think he actually really drank it, but it was more of a communication to her,
Mhm.
this like, I want to experience what you love and experience every day, because I see
Oh,
you doing it every single day. Um, and I think also it connected him to that activity for her, so she could share a glass of lemonade with him after he's gone, rather than, right, it's a moment that they give
yes.
us. Yeah.
Yes.
um Another favorite one I have is, actually, I was in a relationship that had ended, and we had two dogs, and so we decided to keep the dogs together, and I went out on my own. And I really missed being with my animals. uh,
Right.
which I mean, I just mean my companions, and I was kind of like, okay, well, I guess that's just, easier for them to be together, because this was the guidance I thought I was getting. And then I was in meditation, and my little dog who's with me now came and was like, whenever you decide that you're ready, I'm ready to come be with you. And I want to be on the healer
Oh,
path. I want to change my name. I want to do this and that. And I want to come be with you whenever you're ready. I'm okay where I am, but I really want to be on the path you're on. And there were two very different paths. So I thought, okay, um, I was kind of like, how am I even going to do that? And then a couple days later, I got a text message. Can you watch the dogs while I go, out of town? And I said, oh, I can watch this one. And then he stayed. It was fine. It was discussed about and everything, but he ended up staying with me. And then he ended up going to work with me every day and helping me at the acupuncture clinic I was doing healing, offering healing at. And he became a part of that. And that's when I really just realized that this was not separate from my life at all, or having a dog didn't mean the conventional thing for me. It just meant being in service with my little animal companion, who has come to support that service for me with the animals. Yeah.
I love that story. When we had
I
talked for
know.
the first time, you shared that with me, and I think that is so beautiful and
Oh,
amazing that the animal was able to tell you through telepathy, I want to be with you. I want that because that's my path. Animals have a path just like we do. They came here for a purpose, and they find their human that they're supposed to be with for companionship or whatever is needed. And they're such healers. One of my cats was always so healing. She would sit on my chest and she would look up into my eyes, but I could feel her heart against my heart. And she was healing me through love.
yeah.
And it's just so amazing. If we let them do what they're here to do, there is such power in that. It empowers them because they're able to fulfill their purpose, but it also helps us to be on that receiving end.
Yes. And, they teach us, they love us so unconditionally, even when they're teaching us lessons or teaching us what we need to know or what we need to do to be on our path. And sometimes it doesn't feel very comfortable, right? When they're teaching us how to
Right.
be calm and assertive or patient or,
Mm-hmm.
all these things.
Yes.
But it's out of their unconditional love to help us be the best we can. And even when it doesn't feel very comfortable to us and our humanness, it really still is like the highest service. It's so beautiful.
Yes, it certainly is. And one of my favorite animals to talk to are horses.
Oh,
Horses are here to, I believe, to reflect to us our own beauty. They're here to allow us to see freedom in ourselves and also that beauty that's there that sometimes we cover up. You know, we start taking on other people's energy that tells us that we're not enough and that we're not beautiful enough or meeting their expectations. But horses just open up and say, look at your beauty. As we're looking at them, we're seeing ourselves. So that's one of my favorites, is to communicate with them and to help them see their own power, because they don't even know how powerful they are. They feel that energy inside, and it's like, what is that? You know, but when we help them to open up to their magnificence, what a difference it makes in their life to see themselves as a magnificent creature, just as we can admire them and see them for that. So that's been one of my best experiences with animals, is to go into that mind of the horse and just say, you know what, you are glorious, you're magnificent, you are so beautiful, and just be free, just be in your free state of being. And it gives them permission then to find their magnificence.
Well, and it's so beautiful, because once you give any animal, I think children are also like this, but once you give any animal that love and appreciation and see them and acknowledge them, it comes back to you like 1,000-fold. Yes. Because that's what they generate it and just blast it right back at you. And them being in their connection is part of what I find so magnificent, and how they guide and show others, and specifically horses. You know, it's so beautiful how just by being and moving how they do, they're one animal that we can actually get on and be taken somewhere on. And that in itself is just truly amazing, the way that they're able to, if someone got on my back, I don't know, I would be like a little confused or not feel so secure about myself or what I was doing.
Right.
But it's so beautiful how they can join as one and just take you on that experience. And I think they do that with your heart and with your soul, and they teach such a lesson of trust and belief in yourself, and it's so effortless. And from the horses I've communicated and spent time with, and that's one of my goals this year, is to spend more time with horses physically, is the selflessness. It's so amazing.
It really is. And you're in the right place to do that in Colorado. There's some beautiful horses.
Yes, I'm on it. I've put it out there from my heart that I would like to live on some property with some horses and get to really have that be a part of my everyday connection, to learn from them spiritually and physically and in all the ways. And it's also interesting how they are, even how they work with us. And it's just, the teamwork is amazing to me, because they're not the typical obedient, right? It's a kind of it's different than with a dog or, all the animals, of course, are going to be different individually too. But my connection with them is it's a little bit different. Yeah. And actually how we treat them in society is also different. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is. So, Katherine, do you work with all animals? Does it matter what somebody is coming to you for? Can they come to you for help with, say, a snake?
Yeah, all animals, all the animals on Earth, and then also the animal guides that we are connected to too. That's a strong connection for me, and they happen simultaneously. When I was a child, both of those connections were there and experienced a little bit differently. But yeah, even bees and ants and butterflies and I've talked to a lot of raccoons that live on people's properties, and out across from where I live is a lot of prairie dog, like a prairie dog field.
Oh, I love them. I think they're so cute.
I do too.
But I understand the landowners when they come in and the landowners are not real happy that they are
Yeah.
digging into their land. But they are so cute and so adorable.
Yes, and that is part of their what they, there is a deep wisdom in that as well, I think. But I do understand, but I just out there in this field, they're allowed to be there. It's it's where they live, it's their space, and we haven't built anything on it. So just walking through there and interacting with them and just hearing them, in the sense of just feeling their love and their frequency and how they communicate with each other, and how they can go underground and be above ground and pop up, and all the different ways they communicate with their tail and with the barking that they do. And I just love it.
Yes, me too. Me too. Well, Tammy is watching, and she says, Catherine and I worked together when I lost Bino, and it was very nice.
Aww.
I'm so glad you were able to
Tammy.
help her. Oh my gosh, we prayed every day for Bino to be found and for them to be reconnected. So I'm so happy that she found you and that you were able to help her through that time. So thank you.
Well, I did my best, and I appreciated her being open, and it was a very special connection to be let into. So I'm very honored for that.
Absolutely.
You never, even when I never know how that, really is going to end, right? Going to happen, when and how they will be found. And so all I can do is just show up in my connection and do the best that I can.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Tammy is very dear to me, so I want to thank you personally for helping my friend.
I love you. Yes, of course. Love you, Tammy. Sending you lots of love.
Yes, absolutely. So let's talk about the animal spirit guides.
Okay.
Yeah, so tell us about yours, about your connection, and what you said that sometimes it changes. Sometimes there's some that come in, and I believe we have what we need at certain moments of our life. So tell us about how that has appeared for you in your life.
I can share how that is for me. And I also acknowledge that it is shared in different customs differently. And I think also now things are changing spiritually and opening up because we need it to, right? Because Mother Earth needs it too, humanity needs it too, and all that we can access would be wonderful. And so there's different traditions that have these, I call them heavens animals because that's just what comes out of my mouth, but they're not necessarily an animal who was on earth and transitioned, but I say heaven as in like the soul world or our spirit guide animals. And it could be an animal that was here, but there's totems, there's amakua, there's different, almost all the Aboriginal beings have this connection to these spirit animals, to these heavens animals. And I've loved learning more and exploring that. And how I experience is I often see a lot of animals around a lot of different people. So sometimes it could be one that has come down in your ancestry, right? Or if you're open to the idea of past lives, it could be from a past life connection. It could be one that's been sent to you from another one of your guides. When you receive downloads and different information or different projects, right? You have a calling to go do something. Like I know you're on the road serving right now. So there could be an animal that gets assigned to you for that, for your trip, for your service. If I have a book I'm writing, an animal could come to serve me in that. I've also noticed relationships have animals too. Relationship have animal guides. So family relationships, different relationships with individuals, and also companies, especially companies that are created out of service to humanity and others. Different animal guides can come to them. So when I was a child, I could tell you who was with me most of the time. I had a basket full of white kittens and a mama, They were always a basket full of white kittens. They moved around and got out, but they always came in the basket. I had several horses. I had a Cocker Spaniel, and his name was Patrick, which I was like, I had a brother named Patrick. So I was like, can you have a different name? He's like, no, that's my name. So I think a lot of people could experience these as imaginary animals. I don't really know if, I know that that's how it gets talked about. I think we can create things in our imagination. And I also think things come to us in our connection to the source. And as you talked about, when we're children, we're still connected so purely to that connection. We just are. I mean, you see a child twirling around in the grocery store, singing a song, or have you ever noticed when they look up at you above your head? It's like, well, I wonder what they're looking at. Yeah, they're looking at your soul and your connection and, all the other things that are around you. Yes. And and so I experienced that as a child, and then they really continue to come forward to me. And I noticed that a lot of people, I see your little bear there. He's so cute. Your little stuffed animal. A lot of my animal guides, and also just my guides in general, would come through my stuffed animals to me. Like that's the connection. They would, it's not like they would come alive, but that's when I was in love and holding that, that's when that connection and messages would come through. Right. And I also realized that people who have, there's certain people who just, well, I think everyone loves panda bears, but there's certain people who just love a certain type of animal. Not everybody loves snakes. Right. Some people really love them, and some people really love giraffes or really love lions and just feel, they don't even know how to describe it. They're just like, I just feel a connection to them. And what I found by offering readings and messages and seeing in my spiritual eye people's animal connections, that a lot of times that's the animal it is. I had this one gentleman, I did this reading, and a beautiful white tiger came forward with amazing blue eyes. And white tigers are very sacred animal guides.
Yes, they are.
They're very high level. Yeah. And they're very special. And all of them are special, but they all have different qualities. They come from different frequencies, different realms, right? And they have different jobs, depending on who they're connecting to. And they do come with a general message, right? We've heard, you can look up, what does a white tiger symbolize, and I was connecting to this white tiger, came forward really powerfully. And it was a friend of mine in Australia. So I did reach out to him and say, hey, I do have a message for you if you feel open to receiving. And he does this work too. So he was very open. And what ended up coming through was I was guided to ask him, because he kept saying, I've been with you since you were like 6 or 7 years old. And then I asked him, I said, did you have, because I saw this little stuffed white tiger. I said, did you have a little stuffed animal, white tiger, when you were young? And he was like, because he's older now. Mm-hmm. I definitely had every animal, I'm sure. But, those ones that were special to you, the ones that you really connect with. Yes. And he was like, yes, I did. When my parents separated, I had a new room at my dad's house, and I got a stuffed white tiger, and he was like my comfort and my buddy at my dad's house. And I would, cry and like really like just, be in this source love connection with this tiger. And in that moment, his guide was with him. And he was just blown away, and so was I. I'm sure. I mean, we were both just like, like, wow, because it was a very important time. And, when we're 7 and 8 years old, and sometimes it's starting younger, I now think, but that connection we were talking about can shift, right? Because we enter the human realm, the 3D world, the humanity society, we start to socially, it's just a role that we start to go into that's different than being a little kid. Yes. And just being in that connection and being allowed to sing songs and jump around and play with animals and, do all of that. I still love to do that, but I think in
Yes.
general, in America, even at least, this is not really, that starts to shift, right? And you get homework and you start to have different responsibilities and things change.
Right.
And this connection and your channels, or whatever you want to call them, in that connection, the third eye images, the seeing things, the hearing things, the awareness of this other world around you that exists at the same time, starts to shift and starts to close. I was taking care of an 8-year-old one time while he was turning 8, and I hadn't said any of this to him. And he had a very strong connection to animals and spirit animals. And he was, I was kind of hired as his spiritual nanny. So we did spiritual practices and meditations and different things together, and just to nurture and support that connection for him. And he got really, really sick, and he had a fever, and he was, he was purifying. And he said to me, I'm going through the change and I don't really want to. He's like, can you help me? And this was just a child asking me, I know what's happening. I'm turning 8 years old, and I can experience. He didn't associate it with 8, but he just said, I'm going through a change where, my connection is changing. And I had never said anything like that to him before. So it was really beautiful to be a part of that.
Yes.
So I have lots of different, So I have lots of different spirit heavens animals that come to me and that show up. I think also they show up in our connection, right? So when you and I are connected, maybe a different animal comes forward than when you're connected to somebody else, or maybe they stay with you all the time, or maybe they're there to the ones that are so powerful that blow me away are the ones that are there to manage our virtue. In other words, our service and our heart and ability to receive love and to stay connected to the positivity and the positive frequency. Because with love, with positive, that's what I see is the little flowers come in, and it's like your virtue. It's your life force. It's your connection. It's, it can translate into monetary things also, or good health, or nice relationships. Yeah,
I have one especially that keeps coming through lately. It's like he was gorgeous. He was one of the most gorgeous cats I've ever seen in my life, and very full of personality. And just recently, I have come across a lot of people with a cat that was exactly like him. They had the same look, the same personality. And I'm like, okay, you're really starting to rev up your energy now and let me feel you more clearly, because I grieved him when I lost him in 2019 is when he left. And it was a real grieving process I went through, because I had him for 19 years with me as a companion. And he was like my alter ego. He was just so there with everything that I did. He had to be involved with everything. And I mean, even when I would broadcast online, he had to be front and center and get the attention. So now it's like he's reminding me that he's still with me. And he's showing me things that, where I'm going to encounter something with the same look that he had, or that same type of personality that he had. So he's been coming through more and more for me lately. And I loved him so much. It was such a traumatic time to let him go. Yeah, of all my losses, when I lost him, that was like losing a part of me when he left. But he's showing me now that, yep, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere.
Yes. Well, it's such a beautiful, thank you for sharing that with all of us. It's such a, it's just such a beautiful connection. It's unlike any connection. It's indescribable really almost, isn't it? It's like,
it is.
It's unconditional. It's so reliable. It's, on a whole nother, it does connect us to that source love, that unconditional love. And most of the time it's just, it's so amazing. And without any you know, you communicate, and you probably talked to your cat, I'm
Oh,
guessing,
yes,
just even with human
absolutely.
words. So it's an
Yes.
exchange of frequency and vibration, but
Mhm.
the answers and the way you communicate is a little bit different.
Yes.
Um, you know, we all communicate like that, but really when it's just about that,
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
really special connection and access to your heart and who you are and your natural way
Yeah.
of being, and you know, your true nature can really be accessed through this connection with your pets and with animals and nature. And you know, I
Yeah.
could sit and watch National Geographic Animal Channel forever.
Oh, I know. Me too.
It just
I
feels
love
so
it.
good. You know, I'd rather be out in nature, but you know, you know, you get to see animals and have that connection, and it's so soothing to me. It's like
Yeah.
watching someone paint, or
Yeah.
watching that whole flow and everything happen, right? There's a frequency
Mhm.
about that that's so amazing, and it is meditation. It is a
Yes.
meditative. They're just in that state. They're in that present state of connection.
Mhm.
Unless they
Always.
need to bring balance to something we're
Mhm.
bringing the imbalance to. And, you know,
Yeah.
it's always about creating that balance. It's so
Yeah.
beautiful. You
Yeah.
know,
I think he really did that for me. You know,
mm,
the whole time that he was in my life, he just really brought a balance, and it was like he was the male, so he felt like he was the protector. You know, anytime that there was, if I was sad or I went through breast cancer, and he was right there beside of me, just always letting me know, rubbing up against me, wanting to be held, because he wanted to let me know that everything was okay. It was his way of saying, you're okay. You know, you're not going anywhere. You're going to make it through this. And so he was one of my biggest cheerleaders through that time in my life, to let me know that I was going to be all right from this and make it through to the other side. So, yeah, they all have a purpose. They're all healers. They're all our protectors, our beloved companions. And I just thoroughly enjoy animals. I just love getting into their energy, whatever it is they bring to the table. And you know, we have someone watching, and this is so funny. Not well, I never consider anything strange anymore, but
it
but
is a word that people use, though.
I know. But as we were talking, I was thinking of bringing up a question to you, and actually, one of our listeners typed in that very question that I was going to bring up and get your opinion on. So Isabel is watching, and Isabel says, so when a cat or other animal comes to us, in other words, looks for us, could he or she be one of our past pets?
Okay, can you say it one more time?
Okay, so when a cat or another animal comes to us, in other words, they seek us out and find us, could that be one of our past pets?
I think so. What do you think?
Oh, I definitely think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely believe in that concept that when they leave their physical body, they know that they're not going to be gone long in terms of our linear human time, that they will return, and they'll let us experience them again, maybe in a different form than what they were. Like, it might not be a cat anymore, or it may be, you know, whatever it is, that they'll let us experience them again. I fully do
I mean,
believe
I
that.
completely believe that. And I've had that experience with my own little beloved doggy. And, you know, I also do some Akashic record reading and stuff like this. So when I'm communicating with the animals and connecting, I think that's the most special thing about this for me is allowing the animals to share, right? What they need, what they want to communicate, their love, okay? And allowing someone to receive that in a different way. So facilitating that, and also even just being let into that connection is so sacred to me. Anytime anyone
Yes.
allows me to do a reading, even if it's a little reading, or I just feel so honored to be allowed into this
Yes.
connection by the beloved person, because it's so special. And You know, I honestly believe that, and I believe that for me, my experience is that we can all come in different forms. That's just
Yes.
my own personal connection. So I actually had a reading once from one of my friends. You know, we're both doing this, and the reading was that, you know, my dog and I, we have actually been together a lot. And one lifetime I was a tree and he was a flower. And we would sit and have these deep conversations. And I got to see all his offspring, right? All the little flowers that grew from his seed, you
Yeah.
know, after
Oh,
him, and
beautiful.
generations of him. And it was so heart touching to me. Like I could really feel it. I wasn't trying to like understand it with my mind. And I also didn't need to believe it, but it was just this powerful feeling.
Right.
And so many readings I've done, it's there is a reason that you just know that is the one that you need to be with.
Mhm.
I've met so many people who said my pet has saved my life. I knew this was the animal companion. I wasn't even trying to get a dog, you know, or
Yes.
I wasn't even
Right.
looking for a cat, or they literally
Yeah.
find you. I had one of my cats got brought into a house where I was just visiting, in a dog's mouth, and the dog dropped the cat like right onto my lap. And I thought, oh, it was a
Yeah.
tiny kitty, you know, who
Mhm.
had been abandoned. And I was like, wow. Yeah. So those feelings that you all, most of you, I mean, so many people have this feeling with their pet. It's like, I just knew. And
Mhm.
there's a reason. It's just like when you see a friend or you see someone, and I feel similar to this way with you, actually, Teri. I'm like, wow, I feel like we've known each other forever.
Oh, I
And,
know.
and we're so close
Yeah.
friends. And I think that's soul recognition. I think our frequency and vibrations recognize that we've shared in this love, and we have a lot
Mhm.
of, you know, we create this other field, this other
Yes.
informational field, which is our relationship. And I feel like
Mhm.
our relationship, when you feel that way, when you instantly meet someone, I feel like your relationship has a lot of good messages and frequency and vibration
Yeah.
and information and loving, caring things in it. And then
Yes.
there's sometimes those other people you meet where you're like, I don't know, I just don't feel, I'm not, I don't feel
Mhm.
comfortable around that person.
Right.
That could
Yeah. And
also be
I,
another experience.
yes. And with the animals too. You know, and an animal, I believe there's no accidents or coincidences. So if an animal comes to you, like the little kitty that was dropped to you, it was supposed to be there. It was brought on purpose, just
Yeah.
like all of our animals that come into our lives. They're there for a purpose. And as with any relationship, it may be a lifelong relationship where you have that animal, you know, for a certain length of time, or it may be just for a purpose, just to
Yeah.
show you at some moment that you are loved and that you are feeling unconditional love.
Yeah. And that particular cat, that's what it was for me. Yeah.
Mm.
It was in a moment in my life where I really needed that companionship and love. And I also loved cats, but I never really was allowed to have one. And I was in college. And this
Right.
cat went everywhere with me. She went in the
Mm-hmm.
car with me. She went to parties with me. She went
Yeah.
everywhere. And after 3 years, I think 3 or 4 years, I actually she went to a different person,
Mm-hmm.
and I went
Yeah.
overseas. And
Yeah.
she lived to be like 19 years old,
Wow.
and she had a beautiful
Beautiful.
life. Yeah,
Yes.
she
Yeah.
had a beautiful life, and all the neighbors loved her. And I got a message from, it was my old college roommate. I got a message from his wife saying, you know, she's transitioned, she's transitioning, but we wanted to let you know, she had a beautiful life here. And I
Oh,
saw
that's
all the posts from all
sweet.
the neighbors, and just to see her
Mm-hmm.
photograph again. Um,
Yeah.
and, you know, I had grieved her a long time because I wasn't sure what happened with her.
Yeah.
And I had heard a story from someone that she got eaten or something by a coyote. So I realized in that moment when I got to see her and connect to that again, and I had done a lot of forgiveness with her on the soul level to really help. I didn't want that to be connecting us.
Right.
That, like
Yeah.
guilt and that feeling, when also it was
Right.
unnecessary because she was totally having a great life.
She was great. she was partying hardy.
She was connecting to who she needed to connect to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
so beautiful.
She taught me to trust that, which actually was really important. That understanding was really important for me moving forward in my work with animals.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful.
Sometimes they have more than one person to go visit and see and be with.
They do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just like us, just like humans.
Yeah.
Kathy is with us, Kathy Hand. And
hi, Kathy.
She said that you helped her with Bonnie and Scooby.
Hi, Bonnie. Hi, Scooby.
And Kathy says, I totally recommend the Love, Peace, and Harmony song for any dogs who have anxiety. I listened to that song actually on your website. Yes. So tell us about that song. We have a few minutes left. Tell us how we can use that song with our animals.
Yeah. Yes. I love this song. I wonder if Kathy could type in the website in there, so if people wanted to go look, they could. It's a free song to humanity. Yeah, it's really beautiful. I love this song, and I started using it actually for myself. I actually met the healer who received this song. They were in the Redwood Forest, and I can't remember the year, but they asked, the students were there, and they were, doing a meditation, and they asked you, can you ask Divine to offer a song to serve humanity with? And this is the song that came through. And the melody came first, and then the words came in lula, lula, li, and then it came in. And now you can access it in like 40 different languages, the words to 40 different languages. Mm-hmm. It's really beautiful. Yeah. And the reason that I think it works so well, first of all, the message in it is so beautiful. And I think one that we all need right now, which is I love my heart and soul, right? We've been talking about that. Yeah, I love my heart and soul. And what happens when we do that, our capacity to love and be and create and shine and radiate and receive that love, right, expands. So I love my heart and soul. I love all humanity. So it radiates out. Join hearts and souls together. Love, peace, and harmony. Love, peace, and harmony. So
can I play just a little bit of it while you're talking?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so beautiful and relaxing. I love it. I have it playing all the time. Oh, isn't that so nice?
I love it.
It is so great. And in this song, he sings it, I think, in Chinese Mandarin first, which is so beautiful. That's actually where my dog got his name. So he told me he wanted to change his name. He loves this song. So when I started playing it for him, I started realizing, because he's a tiny Chihuahua and he was super nervous all the time. And so many people are always telling me he's just such a chilled out Chihuahua. He meditates to this song all day long.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
And what I realized, the deeper wisdom for it that came to me, is this song actually carries the source frequency and vibration of love, forgiveness, compassion, and light. And we know when we're dealing with frequency and vibration scientifically, right? We know those all carry high frequency and vibrations. And so when it comes in, we're all created with that frequency anyway, right? We're created with the source love, forgiveness, compassion, and light. And so when we listen to this and it activates that field and grows that field within us, also within any part of our body that's hurting or has manifested a lesson of, illness or whatever, right? Pain, emotional pain. What it can do is actually raises the field of that and releases the negative information, frequency, and vibration and messages. So for animals, right, that's so key, because this is how they're communicating anyway with the world. And they take on a lot for us. They take on whatever they can to help us, because like we've said, they're such unconditional servants. So this is actually a way to self-clear them. So this is why Kathy's saying, if your dog has anxiety, play this for them, because what it does is it raises the frequency and vibration, and that lower frequency of anxiety can then be released. It's so simple.
It is. And one of our listeners is Jean, and she says her dog Ringo is reacting to the music.
Oh, yeah.
Just
Tell us
hearing-
how your animal's reacting.
Yeah, just hearing this little bit of it, they're going to react.
Yeah. Yeah. And they recognize that frequency and vibration.
Yes.
And so it can help clear them, and it can bring balance to a relationship. It's also great if you have an animal who's grieving, because we know that they go through that process with us.
Yes.
If you had another animal who's transitioned, or even if you've moved areas or said goodbye to a friend and your neighbor has moved, or any change for them, they can also go through that. This is perfect for that. It's also great for babies. It's really great for anyone, but the animals show such a beautiful response to it. When I lived in Hawaii, we used to gather every week on the beach at sunset, and we would sing this song. And the animals got so accustomed to, people are like, oh, my dog's not going to meditate. It's like a boxer who's like so rambunctious. But actually, once you start, some of them would be running around the outer circle. Some of them would be sitting in it. Some of them would be lying down. It was so much fun. I love it. I can't wait till we can all gather again like that.
Yes, absolutely. And Elizabeth Reichter is with us. She says, my kitties are sleeping. So, so even, it doesn't matter what kind of animal it is. They're all going to respond to this frequency and respond to what they're hearing, that tone, the words, the message of love that's coming through. I just love it. And I respond to it.
Yeah.
So
and
it's
our
not
plants,
just animals.
my flowers last forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a friend who sang it to her banana tree that didn't fruit for like a lot of years, like over 5 years. And then she started singing to it every day. And that year she got beautiful bananas.
I love it. It's called Love, Peace, and Harmony. And you can go to Catherine's website, and you can play it right from there.
Yeah, it is on my website.
That's where I was playing it from.
Oh, okay.
Website. And her website is soullightpetservices.org. I typed that in for anybody who want to just click on that. And also in the description of this program today are all of the social media resources to reach out to Katherine. I suggest any of you, if you've liked what you've heard today, if you've responded to the messages from Katherine, just how her heart is in the love for animals, and they respond, and she's able to help to bring through messages from your beloveds that maybe have gone on from their physical body. Just please reach out to Katherine, because
I would love it. I would love to connect with all of you and your beloved animals.
Absolutely. And Jean says, I swear Ringo has a smile on his face. I believe it.
Jean and Ringo.
I believe it.
I do too.
Yeah. So I want to thank everybody that came in with us today on the program. We had a really good audience in here today.
Oh, thank you for joining us, everyone.
Yeah, let's just give some shout outs. Grace Isis was with us, Isabel, Robert, Julie, Janet, Elizabeth, Jean, Katherine, Prachetta, Julie, Andrea, Tammy, let's see who else, Kathy, and Randy Lou. Thank you, Randy, for posting that link to Master Shah and to the MP3 digital download.
Oh, yeah, that's the healer who received the song. Yeah.
Right. I love Master Shah. I listen to Master Shah. He's such a bright light. Just very joyful and peaceful and exuberant. I love that.
I know. I love it too.
Yeah. So thank you all for joining with us today and for being here on Gratitude Happy Hour. Every week I try to share somebody that I want you to get to know a little better and to see their beautiful energy. And some of these people I meet as I travel around and, through the country. I've gone over 11,000 miles now through our country. and just have enjoyed meeting people. I haven't met Katherine yet, but that is a yet, because I know I will be back in the area where she lives in Colorado, and hopefully we'll be able to sit with her.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm still in California on the Peace on Earth tour, and I'll be headed down to Paso Robles in a few days to help celebrate a birthday with our Rosalind, and she's part of our family. And I'll be with her, and then head on over to Arizona after that. So that's your update on where the Peace on Earth tour is right now.
Great.
We've done 12 physical land blessings, and we've done one virtual land blessing, and we'll be doing more of those as we pass along the time. So thank you all for your kind words. Thank you for being here with us. And Erica's here with us too. Hi, Erica. So Katherine, thank you for being here today. And
thank you.
I've shared your social media and I've shared your website, and I just really hope that people will reach out to you. Any last words that you want to leave us with before we end the show?
I just want to offer my love to everyone, and really encourage you to just honor your connection. It's not going to look like mine or Teri's or anybody's. It's going to be a special connection for you, whatever that means. So I would just, especially in those moments that test us or try us, just keep your heart open to yourself and the connection that you carry within, because humanity needs you to do that.
Yes.
And it will shift things. Yeah. And show you. Yeah.
Absolutely. We do make a difference in the world. We do matter, and our vibration matters. When we can keep it high, we're counterbalancing some of the lower vibration that's out there. We need the contrast. We need those things that teach us, but we also need to remember who we are, and just remember that you are a bright light in the world. What you do matters. What you say matters. And definitely that love coming from you, it's needed in our world, just like what Katherine said.
Yeah.
So stay in your heart, and just let that be what comes from you. Let that be your I am story, that I am love, I am light, I am a beautiful spark of the divine. I love you all so much. And thank you for this time together. Katherine, thank you for this time with us.
Thank you, everyone.
So much love to you. And I see you coming back on this show. Don't think you're going anywhere.
Yay!
I have loved having you on here. And
it'd be my pleasure.
The response that I'm seeing from our audience, they just loved you as well. So
love you, everyone. Thank you for your love.
Y'all take care and have a blessed rest of your day or night, wherever you may be. So much love to all of you. Bye, everybody.